My name is Rick. I live together with my wife Jessica and her parents. You can say I really married into their family. Jessica and I began dating in university and got married after we graduated. After we got married, I wanted to live just as the two of us, but Jessica really wanted to live with her parents, so I had no choice. At first, I was nervous, but my in-laws were very kind. They listened to what I had to say and never caused any dramas with me. It was as if I was living with my own parents. I was able to live comfortably with them. If there was one thing that bothered me, it was the way my in-laws treated Jessica. Maybe it was an old-fashioned husband and wife thing. Jessica and her mother would let her father take control of things, and he would sometimes act like he was the most important person at home. There are these sorts of families too, was what crossed my mind, but I didn't give it too much thought. But shortly later, I found out that what I was witnessing wasn't just an old-fashioned husband and wife thing. One day, Jessica told me she had something important to speak to me about. What happened? To be honest, I'm pregnant. Really? I'm going to be a dad? I was super happy. I had been thinking to myself that since we've been married for 5 years already, I didn't want us to have a child, but there was something obviously weighing on Jessica's mind. What's wrong? Aren't you happy? Not that I'm not happy, but never mind. It's nothing. Maybe she's just nervous about the pregnancy. I didn't think she was so weak-hearted, but oh well, I'll finally be a father. I thought to myself that, from now on, I should become a stronger man. When I told my in-laws the news, my father-in-law was very happy, but my mother-in-law made the same conflicted face Jessica had earlier. Maybe she doesn't fully trust me yet? My pride felt a bit hurt. A few days later, Jessica and my mother-in-law's uneasy expression still hadn't disappeared. On the surface, everything seemed to be the same as always, but based on how they were acting, it was clear that they were hiding something. Could it be an affair? The thought crossed my mind for a second. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of stories online about wives having affairs. They say that in the US, 1 in 20 women are secretly raising kids they've had with lovers. Could it be that Jessica is secretly pregnant with another man's child? I looked into DNA tests and how to get a divorce based on a DNA test, but I still wasn't sure whether Jessica had actually cheated. If I forced Jessica to do a DNA test when I still wasn't sure, I'm sure that would cause big problems in our relationship. What should I do? I wondered to myself. Around that time, something happened that made the truth clear. It was the day before my wife went to the hospital. When I got back home from work, I heard my father-in-law screaming. Ah! I was just taking off my shoes when he screamed. Surprised, I ran towards his voice. There, I saw something unbelievable. My father-in-law was collapsed on the floor, and Jessica was standing in front of him, holding a knife covered in blood. What are you doing? I quickly took the knife out of Jessica's hands and helped my father-in-law sit up. Rick, are you okay? I'll call an ambulance. No, I'm not that hurt. My arm is just a bit cut. Right, Jessica? Jessica walked away without saying a single word. Did something happen? Jessica and I got in a bit of an argument. Nothing out of the ordinary. Does she always cut you when you argue? Well, she always had her bad temper. No way. I couldn't believe it. Jessica was always such a quiet person. How could she cut her own father with a knife? That night, I tried to talk to Jessica about it. Hey, Jessica, aren't you acting a bit strangely recently? What? Jessica wouldn't look me in the eye. Well, you seem a bit uneasy these days, and you cut your father. Hey, has something happened? I told you, it's nothing. If nothing happened, you wouldn't hurt your father, would you? Jessica didn't say anything. The next day, Jessica was hospitalized. I didn't want to burden her with anything silly while she was in the hospital, but I really wanted to know the truth, so I spoke to my father-in-law. Don't you think Jessica has been acting a bit weird recently? She seems uneasy, right? She's been like that since she was young, though I thought she got a bit better after she met you. Really? By the way, when Jessica cut you, what were you arguing about? Well, how should I put it? The pregnancy seems to be affecting her mentally. I spoke to her about that. Really? I felt uncomfortable about how little my father-in-law was sharing with me, but I felt that prying would get me nowhere. Since Jessica was away from her father while she was in the hospital, she seemed to feel a bit better. She began smiling more. Seeing her like this, I realized that Jessica wasn't concerned about the pregnancy. She just had a problem with her father. But I didn't know how I could find out more about this. Jessica wouldn't tell me anything, and questioning her too much would just cause her stress. My father-in-law would avoid the subject and didn't make anything clear. My mother-in-law kept her composure when I asked her and would avoid saying anything like my father-in-law did. Is it alright for me to have a child in this situation? I was probably going to continue living with my in-laws, so I couldn't let things stay as they were, but what could I do? Unable to do anything, a few months later, Jessica gave birth to our daughter. We named her Olivia. A few days after Olivia was born, my father-in-law went to a seniors club meeting, and my mother-in-law told me she had something she wanted to talk to me about. She said it was about Jessica.
Rick, it's about Jessica.
Did something happen to her?
To be honest, Jessica's father sexually abuses her.
What? I was so shocked I couldn't process what my mother-in-law was telling me. Since when did this start?
It's been about 10 years now.
10 years? Why is he doing that?
To be honest, Jessica's real dad passed away in a car accident when Jessica was 3 years old. I married my current husband when Jessica was in middle school.
I never knew.
At first, he was a good father, but he became more and more violent. At first, it was just to me, and then he began attacking Jessica as well.
So that's been going on until now?
Yes.
No way. Shouldn't you have divorced him to protect your daughter?
Well, he's a bit violent, but deep down he's a good person.
A good person wouldn't hurt his stepdaughter. Anyway, why are you telling me this now?
Well, this is just a possibility, but Olivia probably isn't your child. She's probably the child of Jessica's father. So if we continue to live together like this, I thought I should let you know.
I finally realized this family is insane. If I continue living here, Jessica, Olivia, and I will all go crazy. I quickly went to the hospital and spoke to Jessica about what I had heard from her mother. Jessica broke down into tears. She didn't want me to find out, so she had hid the truth this whole time. We decided to move into a house of her own after Jessica gets discharged from the hospital. The day that Jessica was discharged, we moved into an apartment I had rented for us. I moved all our things from our in-laws' house. This way, we won't have to deal with my crazy in-laws, and we can begin a new life on our own. Suddenly the phone rang. Hello? Rick, where are you? I won't tell you. You already know why Jessica and I moved out, don't you? What are you implying? You still plan on playing dumb, huh? In that case, I have nothing more to say to you. Bye. Hey, stop playing around. Give me Olivia. I hung up the phone as my father-in-law was speaking. He called us countless times, but we ignored the phone every time and eventually blocked his number. We lived a peaceful life for a while, but it seems that my father-in-law followed me home from work one day and found out where we lived. So one day, when I was coming home from work, I saw him trying to drag Jessica and Olivia out the door. Stop! Let go! Don't disobey me! Give me Olivia! What are you doing? Who is it? Why are you here? My father-in-law's face, that I used to think looked so kind, was now angry and horrifying. What are you doing? Leave! I will call the police if you don't. Why are you acting like that? You can't talk to your father-in-law with that attitude. I don't consider you my father-in-law anymore. Doing something like that to your own daughter? You're a vile man. Oh, how dare you say that? No matter what you do, I'm taking Olivia with me. She's my daughter. You probably don't want to raise someone else's daughter, do you? Don't worry. We did a DNA test. Olivia is definitely my daughter. What? What does a DNA test prove? Give me Olivia and Jessica. You aren't related to Jessica by blood, nor are you related to Olivia. Stop hurting people. Damn it! My father-in-law tried to attack me, but I have a black belt in judo, and he was just a horny man in his 60s. I would never hurt an elderly person, but I stopped his punches and pushed him against a wall. I told Jessica to call the police. My father-in-law struggled as the police took him away. Afterwards, my father-in-law was investigated and imprisoned for assault and sexual abuse. My mother-in-law came to try to apologize to us, but we told her to never come near us again and chased her away. I changed jobs, and we're now living somewhere far away. Jessica, Olivia, and I are now living a peaceful life with no connection at all to my horrible in-laws. Thank you for watching. Please watch our next video and subscribe to our channel below.